Hey y'all, this is Nancy, the Handy Scandy. Thanks for joining me for another of my Fall Ventures card series for 2020. I have already shared this sweet little card over on Instagram, so if it looks familiar and you follow me on IG, that would be why. But I thought I would share my process as well. So there are all my bits and pieces and parts, and I actually am kind of shopping my scraps and my stash for this guy to build this card. So I've taken that background, which might look familiar. I will list and link, if I can, the video in the top corner there that it's from, but it was left over in my stash, and it's beautiful cloudy sky, that cloud edger stencil from A Colorful Life Designs, and it was all the rage for a couple of months. It probably still is, but you know how things kind of wax and wane in their popularity because there's always something new coming out. But if you don't already have that stencil, that is the most beautiful cloud stencil that I've ever seen. And I am just adding some texture and dimension and shine to both of these pieces with my Shimmering Bliss spray from Technique Junkies, and that is an amazing, beautiful mica powder. And so now I have already put my two pieces together. I use a little bit of foam tape from Amazon to lift the grass up off the background, and I trimmed them down. And that hello that I stamped on there in that fun font it was a freebie from Tailored Expressions with an order earlier this year, and I think it's the first time I've used that stamp, and I don't know why, because that font is so fun. Here in a second, yep, I got a clue that I was off screen again. So I moved it up. I actually have had to trim out so much of this video because I was just off camera. I don't know, I guess I was just in the zone putting this together. And to be honest, this turns out to not be one of my favorite cards, but there's value in the process, right? There's things to be learned, whether it is your most successful card, your least successful card, somewhere in the middle. There's always value in the learning process and the growing process and the creative process. So anyway, I'm putting it together. There are several things that I do wrong throughout the video. I may or may not point them out, but I want you to be able to make your own decision. So I won't degrade myself. I just learn from my process, right? We've talked about that before. So the word fall is some leftovers from my, I think they're called Alpha, maybe they're Adore Alpha from Pink Fresh Studio, and these are a fun alphabet die. So I know there are lots of different dies out there. I might go for a smaller size because this one is actually rather large, but I love it, and it gives you lots of options. So again, back to the card, I kind of go on these little tangents. If y'all have been subscriber for a while, you know that about me, but I apologize. I'll try to stay on track. The trees, those little silhouette trees, are from MFT, and I have been using them pretty much all season on various cards. Of course, in black, they're a silhouette where the rest of the scene is not necessarily silhouetted, but I thought they added some dimension and some interest to the scene to kind of let you know that the Hedgies are, you know, out in the woods and that kind of thing, rather than just outside. So anyway, you know, it is what it is, and my little scene comes together the way that it does. So the little Hedgie under hello, he's holding a heart, he's just happy, he's in love. I mounted him up on some foam tape, and this guy I'm only putting foam tape on his hiney because his front end is going to be poking through the grass, and the grass is already mounted on the foam tape. So I just needed to elevate that one side. And he's just kind of poking through, and if you look, you can see that the middle Hedgie and the Hedgie on the right are actually the same stamp. So I add a few details to them here in a second. Obviously I've colored them differently, but I add some details to differentiate, and you know, hopefully the viewer doesn't necessarily see that it's the same stamp. And I tried to put them at different angles and you know, just make them look like individuals. Maybe we can say that they're twins. They're fraternal twins. So I've added a little top hat to the guy in the middle. The little girl will get a bow in her hair in just a minute, and I'm adding some more trees, and I'm adding some flowers, and just kind of finishing off my scene and adding those details that that, you know, allow your scene to talk. So I think it's fun. I'm really trying hard not to tell y'all the things that I feel like I did wrong. So I want to hear from you if you can see things that if you had designed this card, what would you have done differently? Are there colors you would have done differently? Size, scale, design, images, placement, any of that. You let me know. You let me know. And I am serious. I want to know. I'm not being self-judgmental. I won't be offended if you guys tell me something. This is a legitimate question, and I would truly like to know your opinions on how you may have changed this card. So I'm adding some of these teeny tiny little leaves, and they're from the same stamp set. And oh, by the way, the Hedgies are from Quill You Be Mine by Heffy Doodle, and I will have everything listed and linked below. That little piece of foliage that I put in there is from a Simon Says stamp. I want to say it was a card kit, probably April-May time frame, and I received it from my fun swap that I did with my sweet friend Mona Toth, and it's my first time to use it. And I have a couple other cards coming up with images from that stamp set. So the larger leaves are from the Honeybee Stamps Pumpkin Patch set, and again, these were just in my stash, so I just used them to pull my scene together, not necessarily worried about scale or that type of thing, because in nature things don't always, you know, look perfect. In fact, they never look perfect in nature. It's just nature itself has a perfect feel to it because it's just gorgeous. So finishing up my scene, giving her her little bow hair bow. Yeah, hair bow. And I decided that I wanted to pop that scene up on some black just to give it a little pop and that visual separation between the card panel and the card base. I'm all about that visual separation, and that separation not only separates, but it always also unites. So it sounds kind of contradictory, but it serves two purposes, and it's just kind of that juxtaposition and the placement of that background paper. So I'm measuring things up as I do in my own way, and then I mount them up with the liquid glue, and I'm almost out of this liquid glue. Time to move on to another one. This has actually been a really good glue, y'all. It's just, I think it's a Elmer's Craft Tacky Glue, something like that. Craft Bond Tacky Glue, and I just picked it up at Target one day, and it has been a really good glue, and it's lasted me a very long time. So here I have just mounted everything up, and this is my final card. Again, it's not my overall favorite. There are several things that went wrong, but y'all, just like I said, tell me what you think. What would you have done different if it were your card? And I will not be offended. It's a sincere request. Again, this is Nancy, the Handy Scandy, and if you like this video, I'd appreciate it if you'd give it a like, give it a thumbs up, and if you're not already a subscriber, I'd appreciate it if you would, and I will see you back real soon for another crafty venture. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.